for her, towards her.
For what reason?
The way she brought us up, the way she treated my father. She was the dominant.
Your father got treated the way he deserved. You understand
yes,
that?
I understand that. Yes, I understand.
Am I telling you the truth when I say that when things go wrong in your life, that you blame her for it?
Yes, sir.
See,
I blame my wife now for many things.
You blame your wife, but your wife is a substitute for your mother.
Yes, sir.
She's playing the same role.
Yes, sir.
See, you got to drop that.
Right.
Of your faulty existence. You have the pains are an assortment of pain, because actually there's no real rhyme or reason where they come from. It radiates from your conflict.
Right.
They're non-specific pain. Doctor can't put his finger on it.
No.
Yeah, you drop your anger. See, you're blaming women. You're a typical man blaming women for everything went wrong through women because of men. And it's still happening with you. You're playing the role of your father, setting your wife up to blame her for all the things that go wrong with your life. But the things that go wrong with your life is because to blame her for all the things that go wrong with your life. But the things that go wrong with your life is because you're using her as a support for what's wrong with you. The woman that you gave me, she made me eat. It's her fault. Men justly. Women, on the other hand, often take the blame, and in their ego try harder to give the kind of love that sets men free from guilt. You know how I said that. If you love a man enough, you envelop him in that love so that you free him from the pain of his conflict. You set him free. That's the kind of love that said, you see this big buxom blonde singing the song, I love you, it sets you free, my love sets you free. I don't know how they do it. It's nonsense, total nonsense. But it has some validity in the ego sense. Total nonsense. But it has some validity in the ego sense that a total envelopment, a good dose of sex and excitement can set you free from all kinds of pain, but at the same time give you more pain than it took away. Is that right, gentlemen?
Do you know when you start to realize that your thought process have an intelligence of their own? Your thought processes, when you start to realize they have an intelligence of their own, one is good and one is bad.
Right.
Now, when you start to conform and live to that, there seems to be a void, like it's always weary, as if that's the most important part. When does it loosen up?
Explain that again to me.
Your meditating technique, I realized when I was doing it that my thought processes, yes, which are not really me. One's God and one's the devil.
One's coming through one way, one's coming up.
Yeah, that's right. But it's not until I realized they had an intelligence by themselves that I realized they had an intelligence by themselves that I realized that they were intelligent energies.
Yeah, and you were in the middle somewhere.
Yeah, no, I'm following the good one, but I can't loosen up on it. Everything seems to be so important, like...
Say it, some.
When I'm talking about it, it's like I'm too overpowering, like too serious on the issue of me. Like they get weary of me, like they think I'm sort of like a wolf.
You're not getting weary. I mean, if you talk...
The only person I never felt my enmity rise up again was you. Because it was amazing. I always thought you was a joke at first, because... Don't mean that insultingly, Mr. Masters. But like, I'll come away rejected one time, and when I was ever rejected, I always turned away rejected one time, and when I was ever rejected, I always turned to God. And your tapes were there, and you made me laugh for the first time in years. It was about a chicken with no teeth, just as well. I've never found a chicken with teeth. It was amazing, though. Yeah, it was really good. But I can't loosen up on it somehow.
Morbid.
Like I'm safe. Don't get me wrong. I know it's God's will taking mine over, but I want to relax with it.
No, but I don't understand now. We're going to try to just explain it to me one more time, because I'm a bit slow today, I'm afraid.
Oh, you're okay, mate.
A little bit slow. I want to find out where I can help you. See, I'm looking for a little space.
It's on guard all the time.
On guard with people, on guard with yourself, or what?
Everything. I'm always on guard again.
Well, I used to tell my wife, I said, if you could just learn to repent of your ways and soften up, repent of your ways and soften up and stop being such a hard person, such a manipulating person, looking for a little chink in my armor all the time. I'm always having to live on, not defensive, but I always have to be, I can't be close to her in the sense that I'd like to be in a healthy way. I have to always be just a little distant from her, because I have to beware of the next game that's going to be played. Now, she doesn't understand she's doing it. You know, and when you say, well, this is the next game you played, see you doing that? Oh yeah, I hear you. But she doesn't hear me. You know what I mean? I understand placating me, but I'm living with that, and you're going to be living in the world. And you have to be beware. See, the word beware is be aware. Beware. Watch out. Or be aware. And so you're not going to be able to let your guard down in the sense, but you don't have to be tense. You don't have to be like an animal. Animals are with... Is that right? It's different from this. Still different. You see, it's like the story of a fellow. I made up this story to make a point. He goes to the beach and he's walking on the beach, and he cuts himself. So he goes to the doctor and he has it stitched up. But next time, he's so shocked by this experience. Now he's walking on the beach and he's watching for pieces of glass. While he's doing that, he falls into a hole that some kid digged. Broke his leg. And he goes home and gets his leg, and when 6 weeks later he comes back and he wants to walk on the beach. He has a house on the beach, so now he's watching for holes and glass, and a dog bites him. What's happening if you keep focusing your mind, trying to this is the kind of not ability, trying to this is the kind of not ability to relax you might have, and you have to let go of it. Well, more than that, a little more than that. The attitude you have is that of one of the animal having many experiencing all those experiences to make sure they don't happen again, but you're not conscious of the new one. And the more concentrated you are, the more likely the accidents are going to happen. It's called being accident prone. Now, if you could learn to go through life, excuse me, go through life, and all your experiences, don't let them make you. If you cut yourself on the beach, you just cut yourself on the beach. You see, it's just something that happened, and it doesn't make you super conscious of it happening again, fearful of happening it again. I'm not going to marry a man like happening it again. I'm not going to marry a man like that. I'm not. You know what I mean? You start focusing and focusing and focusing to the exclusion of all the other things. There's a trillion things that can happen to you. So if you could just learn to bear the pains of life, but don't become focused on it. Defensive, watching out. Don't. You retain. You go through these life experiences with a great deal of dignity, with a higher consciousness. And then, believe it or not, the bad things that happen to you, if you deal with it properly, don't lock you in, they release you. And so, less things are likely to happen because you have a much greater overall view. See what I mean? And that awareness is a totally different kind of awareness than the chicken kind of awareness. See? On that low level. You become invulnerable, almost invulnerable to all the things that happen to other people. Won't happen to you. Oh, thank you very much.
I've got one thing I would like to say to you. In the Bible it says, Jesus said there will be men doing far greater things than me. You are one of them, you know that.
No, not greater things.
Not in the wisdom side of it.
We're walking on the top of this glass of the way.
Very astounding. Pure spirit.
It's insight, and then you'll have it. But you're going to have your own insights. Don't worry. Everybody's capable of having them. I'm nothing special.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah.
Everybody has them. You've got them. It takes one to know one. Is that right? You have the seeds of it because you recognize it in me.
Yeah, right.
So do likewise. You have the seeds of it because you recognize it in me.
Yeah, right.
So do likewise. It's only a journey. It's all it is a journey. Okay?
Yeah,
No, I just
Oh, lady next. Sorry. Go ahead. No, ladies first. This is the ye old England.
Can you please What are some of the causes of severe depression and mental illness?
Depression?
Yeah.
Growing and going in the wrong direction. There's up and there's down. And so when you react, you grow. When you grow, you go the wrong way. Mind is focused. See, in other words, I'm looking for an analogy, but I can't find one. But what's happening is you're moving towards a dark tunnel. Your reactions are shaping you and growing you and making you go the wrong direction and focusing your mind toward the darkness. Making you go the wrong direction and focusing your mind toward the darkness. And that's all you can see. For example, 1 and 1 make 2. Now, without learning mathematics, if you can create your own symbols, and let's say you're going to create your own symbols, 1 symbol, 2. And let's say you're going to create your own symbols. 1 symbol, 2 symbol, 3. 3 and 1 is 4. 3 and 2 is 5. 3 and 3, 6. In other words, in mathematics, when you have completed the math ahead, the next possibility of how to use mathematics, mathematics is a discovery process. Isn't that right? Now, all you're discovering and growing the wrong way is the next horrible thing that you fear is going to happen to you. Because you're geared. Huh?
I have a lot of fear inside.
That's right. You're moving toward... Forgiveness is divine in the sense it unlocks you from the fate of being locked into hating. Now, when you're locked into hating, listen carefully. When you're locked into the hating, remember the principle of the belt buckle I talk about? The past is the belt buckle your father beat you, who's walking around with a belt buckle similar to his, but not the same. And you start to react to that person wearing the belt buckle, and that person wearing the belt buckle hasn't hurt you yet. But because he wears the belt buckle, you start to resent him. And your resentment is automatic. You feel intimidated by that person. You feel intimidated by that person, and you feel anger and depressed suddenly. Now, the whole world around you is filled with people, places, and things to which you have responded badly. And yesterday becomes today because yesterday's London is still today's London. And everything in London that all the things that you hate your husband, you hate your father, you hate the king, you hate the queen, you get upset with this and you get upset. But the point is, all these upsets are simply unforgiveness, little irritation here and anger. It locks you in. It locks the past so that the present affects you like the past did. And more things affect you in the present like the past did. Because in the present you're reacting to something else new. And that something new accumulates, and tomorrow becomes today again, and today becomes today again, and today you're reacting to the world automatically. You're reacting to so many things you don't even know it's killing you. See what I mean?
Yes.
But forgiveness, the realization of what love is and what your anger does to you and how it supports your pride, the realization is so strong, it lets you let everything go. And the past no longer affects you in the present. And so you're a free person. You walk around and the world is not your prison anymore because you stop reacting to everything. See what I'm saying? It'd be all right if you can just do that. Start looking for things to forgive. 35 years ago, don't get upset, say something. Look for opportunities to overlook and be patient. Look for the opportunities. Look for the little things that happen every day, the cab driver, the rude grocery store clerk, whatever it is. The irritation here. Watch the irritations. All these irritations are new links to here. Watch the irritations. All these irritations are new links to imprison you into a world of inner darkness that no psychiatrist could possibly save you from. Is that right?
Thank you.
A beautiful green lady way down over there. Can you take a beautiful green lady way down over there? Can you take a microphone all the way down there so we can hear it? Okay, here's it. Okay. We have. Can we hold it for a moment?
Please.
Thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm on the air.
Yeah, you're on the air.
Something else I was going to say about people, places. I was trying to recreate a room where something bad happened, and I always wanted things that were in that room. You know what I mean? I wanted the same things.
I do, I understand.
And it killed me. I couldn't go out and get a valve radio because other than the transistor, you know, the old type work on valves. You know, wireless, yeah, you know, the old from the 30s and that.
What's that? I'm losing.
Radio.
A wall radio?
Yeah.
Old-fashioned radio,
What
yeah.
about lit up?
Oh, yeah. Old-fashioned radio,
What
yeah.
about lit up?
Oh, yeah.
But no, I don't care. I can't get one.
Well,
I've lost
look, let me tell you something. That what the ego does, in relative to his question, it gives me triggers little thoughts. What the ego does, it's born from the environment. It's born from the outer, and it's not an inner creature. And what it does, like a homing salmon, it tends to recreate the same home life. See, in other words, it tends to create the familiar circumstances in which it was born. And so you have, when a man and woman get married, they tend to recreate the kind of home furniture, the same kind of taste, the same colors, the same drab housing tenement, you know, the same location. You can't get away from your world. You can't live in the country because you were born in the hell of the city. And if you go to the country, you create the hell in the country. You see, if you go to the country, you create the hell in the country. You see, you create your own environment. Because the ego can thrive in that environment, absorbed in it, because it's always running from reality. It gets deeper and deeper into those things. Yes, now we can have that. Thank you very much. We have our little gymnast over here.
I'm happy to.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Masters. I was just interested in what you were saying
Yes.
today. Yesterday's problems are today's problems, and go on and on.
Your problems are reinforced each
Yeah.
day unless you let go of
That's
yesterday.
right. Well, I live with somebody with those problems, and it's very hard. I can see it. I can see.
No, it's very hard to live the way.
It's very hard for me to live with somebody
No,
that's continually.
I made it.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't mean to be rude to my wife. I don't mean to be disrespectful. She doesn't mind me talking about this stuff. And because that would be wearing, 5 kids, woman always tearing you down and turning your kids against you and everything like. It's very wearing, turning your kids against you and everything like. It's very wearing, but those are the things that you use to make you strong. You don't let them wear you. In other words, you have an eternal tenacity.
It has
grows
been,
like that.
Up to now, I feel as if I have been blessed with an eternal tenacity. But
these are you got to be.
as if I have been blessed with an eternal tenacity.
But these are you got to be the matador and let
Yeah.
your husband be the bull.
Do you think it eventually ends? I mean,
No, I don't
is it
get-
like a
it
game where
doesn't matter.
somebody wins in the end?
No.
No.
It doesn't matter.
No.
What happens is that if you use his trying ways, to say the least, his trying ways, to say the least, if you use those trying ways to develop patience and long-suffering, character, that the more he lives that life, the more it strengthens you in love and patience and long-suffering, and the more you glow.
I can see it's making him ill.
Let it make a point. If you have a mother and that she's living from you and she's sucking the life out of you, let's say a person you're living with, and you start to get bright, you start to shine, and they can't get to you anymore, do you know what will happen to them? They will become ill.
Yeah, they do.
They'll become ill.
Yeah, they do.
Now, but let's say they're driving you to become an alcoholic, and they're always running after you, but they're the cause, and you can't, and nobody can see it, but you can. And you resent them trying to save you, going to jail, mothering you, always visiting you, buying you cookies. How are you, dearie? How are you, dearie? And you can look. It's a kind of hell that it's hard to imagine, but if you're an alcoholic and you start to get well as the man, the chances are the woman will become the alcoholic. Because she is, when she can't make a home of her frustration in you, the poison stays with her, and she has the problem she was projecting. You see? She may give you ulcers, and when she can't give you ulcers, she gets them. Follow that? Now, let's say it's your wife or your mother, and suddenly you're a free person. It's your wife or your mother, and suddenly you're a free person. The wicked witch doesn't have any power anymore. Oh, my beautiful wickedness. See, she can't get her energy. She's living off you like a parasite, off your psychic energies. You don't understand that people can live off you like that. And they'll start to wilt and get ill. Now they'll start to blame you for making them sick, for being cruel, because they'll react to you as though you are being cruel. Now you've got to be very careful not to give up, because you don't want to be compassionate and start to go back to your old way to make the... So, who understands that part? So, don't you let it faze you. Let them die. All right, fair enough? Don't take any glee in it, but don't take responsibility for them dying, because they'll make you think that you're cruel for being bright. For them dying, because they'll make you think that you're cruel for being bright. Because it is killing them. And so it should. You understand that? So it should. No one will be able to charge you with anything, because who can prove it? How many children die emotionally murdered by the sick world they live in? Can you make a point? Can you make a case? No. Nor can you the other way. All right? I say good riddance to bad rubbish myself. But they could be awakened by that. So you have to hold your ground. It'll kill them or cure them. And that's the problem people have with me. When they listen to me on radio, they freak out. Sometimes it makes them better. What the hell am I doing freaking out, guy? He hasn't said anything. And they start to realize. They say they take a nosedive into their little private, and they start to realize. They say they take a nosedive into their little private hell. You know, you get better or worse. When you listen to me, you get worse or better. But you don't stay in the middle. So I don't mind people driving people to suicide. I have no problem with it.
Masters, can I just add a little something perfectly everything you say? But sometimes I feel a little guilty that if this husband of mine that for many years had started a married life with somebody else, maybe he wouldn't be as he is now. Maybe every day would be a new joy. Maybe it's because he chose me. You know, I feel a little...
Being cantankerous like that because he married you. No, he would have been the same with anybody. It's your cross to bear. You married him.
No, I don't mind.
Yeah, well, you married him. So what if he married somebody else? Then it was somebody else's problem. See? Yeah, you're supposed to give him a hard time. Not too much. You know, not too much, because if something rises in them to stop you, be glad for it. But the point is, that's the role of a woman. She wants love. What does love mean? She wants to be stopped. You've got to stop something that's ugly growing in her. Isn't that right? It looks like an unkindness to that particular ego, because it doesn't get what it wants. It doesn't get the worship. You're not grubbing at her feet. You're not degrading yourself nicely for her. See that? So you have to hold your dignity. I know you married for whatever ego values, but now when you're married, you realize the folly of that. Now you have to mature, straighten up, and start to be her father. That's what a woman wants, is a father. See? She wants Adam to be her father. Adam to be her father, not a sex animal. The falling nature makes him a sex animal, and brings out the dying nature, and the sexuality is reproducing his dying body with a replacement. And then the next ego comes into existence in a fallen state, salvation. The hardest thing in the world was for the first man, because he fell from heaven to hell through the earth. But we are born in hell on earth. And we haven't used up our choice yet. That's the neat part. We are now in the hell that he could never envision. So we've inherited it, but he could never envision. So we've inherited it. But if you were him, you would have made the same choice and died. God in his divine wisdom caused us to be born through his failing on this hell on this earth. Try to make you realize there's something wrong with the way you exist, and you still got one choice. You got an out. You haven't used it with the way you exist, and you still got one choice. You got an out. You haven't used it up yet. Do you understand how neat that is? You haven't used it up yet, because you don't even know where the exit is. Oh,
My family's through the breakdown of my own marriage. Through the breakdown of my own marriage, I went through. Through the breakdown of my own marriage, I went through a living hell, and through that I came out. It was basically from God. It was a clear realization of myself. I realized I'd looked down into myself, and through that, because of the words of basically this man, he had the wisdom so clearly, and from that day forth, my wife is scared of me, and she doesn't even know why she's scared of me. And I still... Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. The respect my wife has for me is good for her. Even if it's fear, for me is good for her. Even if it's fear. I'm not mean to her. But she doesn't know how, I'm too strong for her. That's good, because she needs that strength. But I'm not a really mean person. I'm a happy-go-lucky, free, carefree individual in real life. You see, life. You see, I don't let people dominate me. But I don't dominate. But it feels like a domination when you don't let people dominate you. You see that? Because it's like a brick wall that the will runs into, and they get frustrated and angry trying to break it down. All they do is break the... Now, if I could have 10,000 men like that, I could straighten the world out. I show them how to be peacekeepers. Give them 45s on their belt. Make an army out of them and have a gentle army. See, make an army out of them and have a gentle army. See, well, I don't know if I can find 10,000. Yeah, yes. Where's the mouthpiece? Oh, do we not finish here? Are we? Sorry.
Roy, what would you advise us to do to save our country, apart from being patient, following God's laws, phoning up the radio and TV stations when we can to complain?
Phoning up the stations because they don't have many callers on these stations, and everybody who calls talks nonsense.
Pete Murray is very nice. Pete Murray will listen to you. But when you phone up like Robbie Vincent and Mike Dickin, and you come from a moral point of view, they turn the tables around and they try and intimidate you and call you names.
Call them anyway.
I do. But apart from all those things, what can we do to save our country?
Save yourself first. Save your family.
To save our country.
Save yourself first. Save your family. See, practice. I mean, because right now you are in an embryonic stage. But you need to be a noble mother, a noble wife, a noble father. You see, and shine like a light. Yes, that's a good idea. Call the LBC, call all the different radio stations, and keep calling them and presenting your point of view. And as you do, learn to express yourself. Learn to tangle with the talk show hosts. Listen, young man, excuse me, I don't mean to be rude, but you express your immoral point of view. I want to express my moral point of view. This country's falling apart. And you're giving weak people license. You see, talk to them with strength. There's enough people here to keep that phone line busy. You'd be surprised the effect you have, because I don't think you get many calls. You hear calls like, "Hello, I got me geraniums in my..." Could you, do you think that will cause the downfall of the country if I put some spray on it? It's sickening to listen to them. And you bright ones, you need to be calling in, and wherever you can, pick up the phone and they won't know where it's coming from. Wherever you can, pick up the phone and they won't know where it's coming from. It'll give the impression that the whole of London is becoming transformed. You understand that? Huh? But the thing is, you're not ringing. That's the reason why when you leave the space, the other guys get in. There's enough people here to make a difference. And may I suggest that, we have a voluntary, graciously, young people who graciously volunteered their services to be on the boarding. But you might want to have a nice little foundation of human understanding where you meet and discuss politics if you like, what you can do to save the country. That would be nice. Meanwhile, go ahead and be the kind of good mom and dad and good father and good son and daughter that you need to be. Mom and dad and good father and good son and daughter that you need to be. And learn to deal with the stresses in your environment. Each one of you knows 100 people. Each one of you can affect that 100 people. See? It won't take long before it spreads. It only took one good man 2,000. And he had a lot to fight against. He had the Roman Empire. And the Christians were being thrown to the lions rather than submit to idols. I mean, you had some real strong people, some really dedicated people in those days. Or a bunch of nuts, one of the two. So, you've got to do something. And you can. You'll be surprised if a telephone call to whoever it is. Never mind, just bug them. The airways are yours anyway. Yeah, they are. Well, they're yours. Use them. Claim them. You claim them back. You claim them back.
It's not invent your car to bring forth from within. Yeah?
Educare.
Yeah, something like that. I know you said it.
The word is from the Latin to bring forth from within. That's right. And not slap on like a coat
That's
of paint.
it. A seminar I had at work a few weeks ago. We had a week's seminar, yeah? And I brought this up amongst the people that were in charge, and they were dumbfounded. They were speechless.
Yeah.
As far as education, I never had any proper academic education anyway.
But you got common sense. Let me tell you something about you. What you put your mind to now.
That's right.
You put your mind to now.
That's right.
You become good at without even cracking a book.
That's it, yeah. This lady here wants to.
Yeah. Yes.
I've come here to get healed, but I'm really terrified because I know there's something inside me. My leg. No, don't come near me with the cross, please. No. And as I've got a female ego inside of me. I want everybody to worship me, and I hate everybody in this room. And
it's good. It's good.
I want everything without going outside because they couldn't face the world because I wanted them to worship me, but I put weight on, so I became anorexic.
Now, you mentioned this the other day, but now she's mentioning the real reason why she has this terrible fear, because she has this terrible ego need. Isn't that right?
And my sisters have got good lives, and they've been married, but I've never had a boyfriend. And they've been married, but I've never had a boyfriend. I've never had a life. I don't go out socially.
And you're still young. You can make it.
I'm 38 now.
But you're still young. Just drop it. Just get rid of it. It's nonsense. It's silly. Like England is silly. Excuse me putting away. I come here, I see England is silly. Silly. Excuse me putting away. I come here, I see England is silly.
I've had people in my jobs. I worked in a shop, a charity shop, and these two people called me stupid. They said that I walked in and they were saying how stupid I was because I can't take anything in. I can't withhold information. Your information is going by me, and I take anything in. I can't withhold information. Your information is going by me, and I just stand there and watch you, and the devil is inside me, and I can't take it in. And there's something stopping me from living properly, and I'm living this secluded life, and I can't break through, and I live with my mother, and we're living off each other, and I'm hurting her. I continue advice because I haven't got a mind of my own.
If you have such a big ego, then why would how comes it if you got such a big ego? It's such a little tiny nothing. It has to grub in the dirt for Mama to tell you what to do. Isn't it a contradiction? Isn't it? The more nothing you become, and this nothing what craves to be a something and hates being a nothing. Knock it off. Huh? Give up your anger towards your mom. That's where that's where the hell's coming from. It's living in you. And you hate her. You have a love-hate relationship with her.
I tried to kill her at one point, and I ended up falling ill and hearing the voices.
Well, what are we going to do about it? You want me to put a cross on you yet?
I can.
Wait, no, I don't want to put pressure you. Call me if you want me.
Okay.
Right?
My father rejected me also, but he wasn't much of a father because my mother said that they were playing as children and I was conceived at the first instant. And
they were what?
Playing as children and playing. Playing as children and playing. Experimenting is the word.
With sex. And you were the result of it.
That's right. And I was told... And I was told that my mother used to always say that I was a mistake. And I feel I forgive my father, but I haven't met him since I came to this country 33 or 34 years. And I'm afraid of meeting up with him because I don't want to see him. I don't know why, but I'm afraid.
But see, perfect love for your father. You have hate for him. And you fear him. Let me talk to you about fear and hate. Do you know why people have fear when they hate? Because you can either, it's a trauma. A temptation, it's a trauma. A temptation, the temptation to hate somebody is a trauma. All sin is trauma, and also sexual. But let's put aside the sexual part of it and show you how you fall to becoming an animal. You fall to the animal way. You leave behind your human. And so therefore, the first fear is the fear of discovering oneself, the fear of the truth. See, because of what you've become. So you keep hiding. For example, it's a spiritual fear. If you were a crook, wouldn't it be better if you stole something and you flag down the first police car you saw when you're ready? Say, take me in, you're looking for me. And then you go to the judge and say, Judge, you're on throw me in the pokey, I deserve it. The judge will look at you, and if he's a good judge, he'll say, all right. The judge will look at you, and if he's a good judge, he'll say, all right, well, I can see that you've got a good heart. I've got to punish you with something, but so, okay, 6 months in the pokey. I should give you 10 years, but because you've got a good heart, see, you've got to pay for something. But if you're an unrepentant thief, come around the corner, you run into a doorway, wouldn't you? That's called fear, right? When you're not repentant, the friend is the enemy. Truth is, so that's one fear. And I wonder how many people have that fear in this room. A lot of it. But then, anger, on its other level, creates the flight or the fight principle. When you react with anger, if you're a mousy person, you'll run. If you're in aggression mode, you'll kill somebody. You'll fight. When you suppress, you'll kill somebody. You'll fight. When you suppress the anger, you want to run. It creates all kinds of fears that you can't, phobias and fears and fear of high places and things like, all kinds of fears that don't make any sense, that you can't put your finger on. Transferring itself, as it will, to almost anything. You see? If you stop smoking, you start eating. Its symptoms will always transfer. See, because it attaches itself to whatever, to manifest itself. So you see, that's all there is to it. If you stop being angry, you stop being guilty, that fear goes away. You become bold. Goes away. You become bold. You're not afraid of what people think. You see? It's another kind of fear because you build yourself up with people's approval. Well, then it's afraid of not pleasing people. Afraid that people might not accept you. And so all those fears will disappear when you forgive. And so all those fears will disappear when you forgive. You understand that what Jesus taught, the principle of forgiving. How many times shall you forgive? Shall I forgive 7 times? He said, no, 70 times 7. Or 70 times 70. You get different or 70 times 70. You get different translations. I mean, what he's saying is, forever. Don't let people get you. Nil illegitimo carborundum. Does anybody know what that means? Yeah. I'm glad you reckon. I remember that from years ago.
I'm suppressing a hell of a lot of rage, and I don't know how. I don't know. Shut up, or I'll hit you.
Let me just try something with you. Hoping that rage will come. I know that's, but see that little cross of mine is a spiritual stethoscope. I use it occasionally because there's something in you that recognizes that symbol. When it's near the surface, rise it with that symbol. But not in. See, this is just a piece of wood. Actually, that's a little bit too sculptured for my purpose, but it'll do. I just need 2 sticks, really, and not to be sort of crafted by human hands at all, but in the hands of a person who, they can't do anything with. You see crosses everywhere. They don't mean anything. They have no power. It's the man. It's not the staff of Moses. It's the man who holds the staff. See what I mean? But the symbol, this symbol, the cross, if it's properly executed, is a spiritual trauma for hell that's in a person. Because that's where he was defeated for the first time. That's where he took an innocent life. All of us are guilty, therefore we're all his. Let me explain to you something spiritual here. That you understand that the payment of sin is death, because God says to Adam, if you eat that fruit you shall surely die. And he did. Not immediately. He reproduced. See, he reproduced his dying body. We all have a lifetime to realize that even young people won't face the fact that that's why they can do so many things and think they can get away with it. See, they feel invulnerable, invincible, like gods. They can do anything and nothing will happen to them. That's the lie they're born into. Except when you get old, you feel more mortal, don't you? You feel more mortal, don't you? You start to realize the truth. Even older people, won't face the truth. I look at the fact that I'm nearing the end of my time, so I'm aware of it. I'm preparing myself by the way I live, right? So I have no fear. The way I live, right? So I have no fear. I mean, you can take all my money and my everything. I don't care anymore because I brought my kids up. It's just me now. So come and take me. That's my attitude. Okay, kill me, because I'd rather die than that way than die with tubes in my up my that way than die with tubes in up my nose and in the various orifices, right? See, that's not the way to die. So, point is, the wages of sin is death. We're all born subject to it, and that's why there's no shedding of blood. But it has to be innocent blood. That's why the Israelites knew over the years. They symbolized with this taking, a lamb without blemish and without spot. See, and that was symbolic, because if you read in the Apocrypha, the apocryphal books of the New Testament, of the Old Testament, you'll see the dialogue between God and Adam. Because Adam was so distraught, he tried to commit suicide several times, and God raises him up. And he says, he tries to shed his own blood. He's trying to pay for his own sin. He said, I'll send my son. I'll come myself. He said, my son, I'll come myself. He says, I'll do it. And that's the advantage. The advent of that is the promise of the Savior. That is a man who's born, seeded from this other dimension, not by a man, not the lineage of the original sin, because all men are with spot. Stained. See that? So you see, heavenly legalism. In other words, evil has us fair and square. He does what he wants with us. While doing what he wants with us, he inflicts pain on us, which serves a purpose to cry for salvation, to cry for something. knowing there's something wrong, to cry for something. Knowing there's something wrong, the way we exist on this earth and the forces that operate through other human agencies are there tormenting us to kill us or bring us to repentance. See? And so, but there's a plan, and the Jewish people had it written in their scriptures how this person, when this person, had it written in their scriptures how this person, when this person will be born. It was all written how it would happen. And you see all of the different stories of the Bible. The magnificent part of the Bible is not written by a person, but the stories describe chronicle the different lives of noble people. And each one of these lives of noble people has a little bit of a portent of a Christ. They are like it's an archetype. Each has a little shape, like Abraham. Is Abraham sacrificing his only son, and then God let them not do it? Moses leading the children of Israel out of Egypt, and making the land.
For more information, please write to FHU 27 Old Gloucester Street, London, WC1N 3XN.